you, for an average viewer, watch something like an Impulsive or like a TMG podcast, and you just look at it and you're like, oh, like it sounds great. It's just these two guys doing whatever. For us, we're looking at that and like, damn, you don't have to hold your mic. Like, you are lucky. Like,
as one of my friends would say, you are wealthy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the NOFOLD podcast, your favorite podcast for celebrating the fact that we have gotten to 10 episodes. Matt Floyd, my co-host, how does it feel to be at episode 10? We're in the double digits, bro.
Double digits, dude. I can't believe I actually made it to 10. Like statistically, I don't think many podcasts make it past like 10 episodes. So like we already beat the odds.
We beat the odds. We're in like the top 5% now.
I would say like 3%, dude.
Yeah.
3.5.
Our bank accounts,
good one.
Not really, but
they're there.
We're getting there.
Yeah. There's money in there. It's not like we're like overdrafting. Because if we're overdrafting,
and also kind of in a way, this is our first video podcast.
It is. Oh, yeah, because after this episode, you're supposed to drop them all.
Yeah, when episode 10 comes out, you will see on our YouTube page, if you're there, 1 through 10 are all uploaded. And then from here on out, you'll see them on Spotify and on YouTube. And maybe we'll throw them up on Apple Music. It's still in the works.
Wait, you can get the videos up on Spotify?
I don't think we can yet. We don't have enough clout for that.
We gotta get that Joe Rogan stance.
We gotta get the deals. We gotta get the deals.
So if anyone from Spotify is listening to this, just out of thin freaking air, we want that deal. So let us know.
Yeah, if you just want to give us like if you just want to calculate like Oregon like average salary and then just pay us that, we should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, just you're rolling the dice, but I feel like you're rolling the dice in a good. Your odds are good.
Yeah,
we're gonna perform well. We're gonna succeed. We're gonna do our best. But I mean,
we've already made it 10 episodes.
Yeah,
so.
We already beat the odds. So I mean, literally, the odds are in their favor, as any poker term would be going, and we're not gonna fold. So, boom.
Exactly. We're here till we die. So.
We are here till we die, because once we're dead, we are gone.
We are done. The episodes end. Don't know what that episode will be, but
I want to do a podcast where we're like hella old. Like we look at ourselves now and we're like, oh wow, look at that and stuff, and we're like in our 90s and we're like
frail.
Where am I? What is this?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fold No Podcast.
I'm your host, Floyd Matt. Wait, I put my name backwards. Shit.
Floyd Matt Weather.
Floyd Matt Weather. We're coming back. And then I just take my cane and I'm like, woo! And they're like, Grandpa, calm down. And I'm like, shut up out there. Just yelled at people. And they're like, dude, there's no one over there. I'm like, you don't hear them? They're all over.
I think, though, we have a lot more work to do before we get to that point. But for what it's worth, it is episode 10. And I think that we've come pretty far from messing up recordings to forgetting to record to, let me say it, messing up recordings. And I think I thought of this idea and I relayed it to Matt that I think we could take episode 10 to talk about what we learned starting a podcast. So if anyone else wants to try to compete with the beast that is NOFOLD, maybe you can get some stuff from us about everything that we've learned from starting a podcast. So
it's true. Like we're nowhere near perfect, but we have learned a lot in a matter of a couple months. And yeah, first things first, make sure your cameras are on and make sure you are recording. There's this little red light usually that's on stuff. I don't know if any like self-proclaimed videographers or photographers out there, but it's a little blinking red light. So as long as that thing's on,
we found out about it like a week ago.
We're good. Okay, yeah. I read it on a Google forum and I was like, oh, that's how that works. So just want to make sure everyone else knows how to record. But I will say it has been a lot of fun, and it's one of those things that like you could wait and you could be like, man, it's not right. Let's not put it out. Oh no, we didn't get that one right. Let's just wait until another episode. And it's like, why? Like, I think half the fun is seeing where you started and seeing like kind of like cringy, but like what were we doing? But then you look at where you're at that point, and you're like, man, we learned so much. And I think that's just like something that's very valuable. And like in today's society, it's hard to come by because naturally with social media and stuff, we don't think that way. We think of like instant gratification. So if it ain't like a top seller or the best viral TikTok, we're going to take it down. And I'm just like, I don't like that. Like, I like seeing the highs and lows of videos. I like seeing
sevens of the NOFOLD podcast.
That's going to be a treat for everyone.
Hey, everybody. It's Matt here.
Just let y'all know, my mic was slightly unplugged that episode, so that's where I sound like I'm in an ice box. And clearly, I'm not in an ice box.
Let's just double check those really quick.
Double check everything.
Yeah, okay.
Make sure we have signal. We got signal. We got balance. We got bars.
Let me just double check your levels. Okay, we're good here. Awesome. We don't want episode 7 again.
How far did we go? Do you remember looking at the time to see
we went
how
30 minutes?
Oh, that was
episode 7 we went the whole way and then messed it up. Episode 8 we went 30 minutes in and then had to reshoot it all.
So we had back to back. Yeah, that was a
bad week. That was a bad couple of weeks for the NOFOLD podcast, and we're only 10 weeks into this.
Bro, we were the only 2 employees, and we're like, we hate this shit. These just ain't working.
Our on-camera talent, we need to figure out how to get rid of them.
But I mean, from like a 10 episode like point of view, what do you think? Like, do you think we should have put all those episodes out? Do you think we should like try to get it to a perfect level? Like, what's your take? I want to hear from your point of view.
I think when it came to us starting a podcast, I think one of the things that I've learned is like I think I'm proud of us for putting out every single episode we made. Like I like we've cut out things. We've cut out a fair share of dog barks and other things, but like I also just like that like we like stuck to the NOFOLD of just being like this episode is arguably worse than our last episode, but we're learning every single week, so we're gonna put this out.
It's like notches.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm getting there. Or like when you were growing up and you had like the threshold on the door and you had like little pencil marks when you were growing and you're like, oh, let me see how tall. And you waited like a couple weeks to like another month and you're like, oh shoot, look. Like,
yeah. That's
how I feel like this podcast is. It's like
basically,
oh wow, look where we started. Oh wow, look, we're already there. Like,
and episode 7 is just running into the door frame. It's a dent.
We definitely busted our nose. We're like, oh whoa,
exactly.
This whole coordination thing we haven't quite figured out yet.
But yeah, I think like I've learned a lot. Like for me, I don't put out YouTube videos as much as I'd like to, but it's been nice to like have that like delayed gratification, sort of like dopamine of being able to just like every single time we film an episode, it comes out on a Friday, which this week we're kind of backed up, so it might not happen this week. But like when it comes out, it's still nice. He pauses. Hey man, I got a lot of video to edit. Do you know how many we have talked for over 9 hours?
Yeah.
I have to go through and multicam, cut through all that. And yeah, it's a lot. But we're working on it.
Neither of us are getting paid for it either, so.
Yeah, we're working completely for free up until Spotify sponsors us, so
we're going to get that deal.
So maybe for a month. We'll continue working for free. And then Spotify, you better be knocking on our door.
At least a couple sponsors, because if we get a couple sponsors, then I'm actually going to reach out to some local places around here in Portland, see what we can do. Have some fun. Yeah. As soon as we get one deal, dude, we're going to the freaking moon.
Yeah.
Like literally.
One thing I did realize though that I learned a lot about starting a podcast is like podcasts are like I always think about like the law of equal exchange in anything that I do. Like I feel like podcasts have this weird thing of like they don't have a lot of discoverability. Like literally none. Like if you put a podcast on Spotify's not going to algorithmically show it to people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like podcasts are so at their core very simple that like you can make a first episode and then just like take it off and just be like, boom, okay, well, we don't have to invest money in like a YouTube video or one specific video. We can take that money, put it into a huge, like a really nice studio and really nice mics that'll last us for a long time, and like maybe invest that in a producer. And I feel like that's something where like a like a podcast, you can do that very quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to like YouTube, it's like you have to hit a threshold of like 100,000 subscribers or like 1 million subscribers for a lot of people before you can like start making those moves. But like,
it's tough because it's just like visually you want it to like look exactly, especially how we both are with video and like creative storytelling. We see visuals as like it has to be at this level, and if it's not, it's like we didn't hit the mark. Scratch it. Let's like try this out. Whereas here, this is like both of us just naturally having conversations, naturally talking, and like if we would have done this with video, I guarantee we wouldn't have ever put any of those videos out. Like,
probably not. No.
Like how much we've screwed up with just
still
audio.
are, but.
Yeah. But I'm saying like if we would have just like done our own thing, not a podcast and stuff, I guarantee you we'd be like, yeah, we would have never put an episode out. Or if we did, it would be like one from like 3 months ago that we worked on for the last 3 months to get it to exactly how we want it to be. Whereas this is just like, nope, turn and burn, dude. We got next week. We got to do it better and we got to do it faster and more efficient. And I think that's like super cool about this this industry with podcasts is that it's like like repetitive and just like consistency, but also like you get better and better every week and you see the difference. You're like, wow, like I feel like that was a good episode compared to the previous episodes. We talked about X, Y, and Z. We got this accomplished. We knocked this out of the park. Like it just, it builds so much faster. Whereas like one video a week. Yeah. But like if you're a perfectionist, it ain't happening every week. And if it is, it's not good because you're like, man, I could have done this better if I had some more time. We're doing it.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Mean, it's only a couple hours outside of the editing. Oh my goodness. But like for what it's worth, like it's just like something to like honestly like push us just to do better. Like I feel like the NOFOLD and even like the idea of like NOFOLD has like helped me too of just like pushing myself to like be better and like
what has it done for you in like daily life?
I think for me, like for one, we're 10 episodes in, and for two, just be honest with the viewer because we want like a KSI level of honesty with the audience here. Like we haven't necessarily gone super hard with like the NOFOLD mantra, but I also think like it's just always in my head, like the idea of just like put it all out there until people have to like meticulously pick you apart to find that like you were bluffing. You know, like whether that be in like playing video games or like talking to someone of authority, like anything like
or a girl
maybe, but like anything of that sort. Like I feel like the NOFOLD ideology like applies.
Yeah,
like just like put it all out there. Put like it's like a step above like believe it till you achieve it. It's just like create this like be your best self kind of thing. And like live the dream, or like more as a lifestyle rather than just like a dream.
Have you ever thought about doing like motivational speaking?
I mean, maybe sometimes.
Should go into like local like high schools and stuff and be like, guys, I got the secret. Don't listen to these guys on YouTube.
Listen to the podcast. Listen to NOFOLD.
Listen to the NOFOLD. We'll get you there.
But I also think on that topic though, I feel like for me, I also think it's like a weird, like a double-edged sword where like I think about like the NOFOLD thing, and then I like come and I loop it all the way back to the podcast. I'm like, are we really like not folding? And I'm like, kind of, because we like put out an episode, like we put out a trash episode and just like we're like whatever, it's great. But at the same time, it's like we have like discussed publicly what we want to do with this podcast on multiple occasions in multiple episodes, and like nothing's really like gone anywhere. Like deep moment for the audience, but it's like I feel like for us, like that's one of the biggest things like I've learned on this podcast is like if we're gonna be this like NOFOLD thing, this NOFOLD empire, this NOFOLD character, it's like we really got to live it too, and like take whatever that looks like. Like we're both working hard and on other things too, other big projects, but also like just like coming in and just dedicating time to the NOFOLD like podcast and what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, like across the board, if you want something to do well, you got to put the time in.
Yeah.
Point blank. Like, so I think this is definitely something that people can take away and be like, you know what? If I would have never started, I would not be here where I'm at now.
Yeah.
It's like the whole concept of like walking somewhere. It's like if you don't take that first step, you're not just going to start walking.
Yeah.
You got to take a step and then another step and then another step. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, wow, look, I'm kind of going somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you always just think about the step, You dream about the step. You dream about where you want to be, but you actually never move. Bro,
Yeah.
you're just like everyone else.
I was watching a video very briefly, literally like the first minute of the video, but it was like how to deal with procrastination. But I feel like it also just applies to anything. But it was like how do I read a 500-page book? Like it seems like so much. And the guy, the psychologist, who's like he's a psychologist / Twitch streamer, responds with,
it wasn't Gary Vee.
No, yucky. Responds with, if you want to read the 500-page book, think about reading the first page and don't worry about pages 2 through 500. Like, 'cause they'll come.
Yeah.
Like, you have to just read it page by page.
That's
but
solid.
if you think about getting to the very end, like, you're never going to get there because you're going to think of it as this big thing when really it's just page by page by page. And I feel like for like us looking at the podcast, like that's how we've really like taken it page by page by page. But when it's also like I feel like right now we're kind of just like a little bit of like typewriter action where I feel like we could definitely just like splatter paint all over those pages, like going hard and being like why haven't we gotten Gary Vee on the podcast yet? Why hasn't Eric showed up and tried to sneak into Matt's apartment? Like, why?
Bro, I actually had someone break into my storage unit downstairs.
Nice.
Broad daylight. I'm like, how did this guy get in here? Some homeless person somehow got in there, stole some of my stuff. I went down the other day. This is how I knew. I opened the door. This is a whole side note, but I remember opening it and I was like, I don't remember putting this box on the ground. I don't remember that stuff being there. And then I looked to my left, and this is when you know someone was in a hurry because they literally cut slats into boxes. And I was like, why are there cuts right there? Because what you do is if you don't want to take down a whole stack of boxes, because there was a whole stack in there of like 5 boxes high, you cut the top of it and then you just pull to see what's inside. That's what they were doing, is they were slicing these boxes looking. Luckily, my ass is smart. And I've been on the other side of having stuff stolen. So I was like, you put clothes on top. So that way, when you look into the box, the first thing you see is just a bunch of clothes. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So no valuables, no technology, no cameras or anything like that. I had that shit down there. I just put a bunch of clothes on top, like a bunch of jackets, like winter clothes. I was just like, and I wrote on the box, winter clothes, even though there was no winter clothes in there. That was wild. I came back up and I was like, thank God.
A little bit of Macaulay Culkin.
Bro,
like,
I got
alone type stuff.
Yeah, like I was like thinking through this stuff and I was like, if this ever happens, now it has. And I'm like, holy crap, it worked. But it was like literally like these cuts in the boxes and I was like, And I like was asking, I was like, the apartment complex, I'm like, yo, did this like someone stroll up in here? Like what happened? They were like, well, the front door was broken for 2 days. No one told us.
2 days?
I was like, 2 days. Well, I mean, freaking all of Portland could have walked right in that front door. We would have had no idea. As a key code entry, I'm like, guys, I mean, I'm not no president. I don't need like no national security, but we got to have a damn door locking. Like, we're in downtown Portland. We got homeless people all over the place just wanting to steal stuff. So I was like, dude. So that was wild. But
so
as
someone owning an apartment, that's definitely not something you want to do. But as someone that owns half a podcast, what for you is something that you don't want to do moving forward?
Bro, I saw what you did there, and it's almost kind of cringeworthy.
I always got to figure out a way because let me tell you, I've been in this. I've been here for this 9 hours of podcasting with Matt Floyd, and I've realized that sometimes I just got to sit there and smile and then just be like, how am I pulling this back? That's all I'm thinking about.
Well, sometimes you don't have to. You're going to be like, you know what? Let's like go on to the next thing. But I get what your point is for like what you can take away and what you can learn from. And for me, just like applying it to life has been pretty much just like every day living that not extreme lifestyle, but just knowing that it's like, hey, I'm not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like, what am I going to do today to like utilize everything I can, whether it's friendships, whether it's my work. And like, that's been kind of ingrained in me, which is why I wanted to do a podcast around like not living life to the fullest or some like mantra that's like, you're going to do something dumb in life because you're going to hurt yourself because you're trying something so crazy, but just more of like, you're not promised tomorrow. So like, I want to start a podcast. Okay, cool. Go start a podcast.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Don't like make. I mean, you can think through the process. You can like what we're doing now, which is the kind of like a little bit of backtracking. But like, what do we really want to accomplish? What do we really want to try to do? But just do it. Like, don't freaking wait because you're not promised tomorrow, man. Like that stuff's real, and like it doesn't have. You don't think about it like daily until something bad happens or something tragic happens, and then you're like, yo, that's like real life. So like, what if you failed? Oh well, who cares? The only one that cares is you. It's just literally get better tomorrow, do better, learn from your mistakes, and keep advancing. But don't just like not do anything because you're just like, well, what if they don't like it, or what if no one will listen? Okay, get good, get to the point where people want to listen. That's the fun part, because then you're like, man, I sucked. I was horrible. Well, like you do it enough and you really are passionate about it, you get good at it and you practice, and it's like, man, that stuff's fun. Like that's when it gets like awesome, because you're like, man, we started in here. Who knows, 6 months from now we have our own studio. Yeah. And we're like got a whole crew. Like that's the fun stuff. And then you look back and you're like, geez, we were fucking sweating in that sweatshop of a apartment because we couldn't run air because one of the guys didn't want to edit a podcast with a little bit of white noise in the background.
I'm going to upload the raw files to Dropbox if y'all want to take a stab at editing it with brrr.
Bro, we should have that. We should have like someone edit like an episode for us and like see who does it better. Didn't like some like YouTuber do that where they're like
YouTuber did that.
Yeah. They like sent out a whole YouTube video.
Now famous.
There you go. Well, like maybe
if you want to be famous,
where he's gonna pull some like random big ass stunt, and people are gonna be like, "How do they do that?" And we're like, you know what? We did it.
We asked.
We literally asked YouTube. We asked the internet.
We asked YouTube
and
for a stunt.
They responded. The people spoke.
Exactly. Yeah, I think like going off of like what we want to like do and what not we want to do moving forward.
What not we want to do. Good English, man.
Good English, straight up. I don't go to school. And I think for me, like we had this idea of like listing off like 3 things that we wanted to do, 3 things that we didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. I'll just go first because I can see what I wrote on the ultra wide monitor over here.
We got a what was it? Teleprompter. We got a teleprompter in the middle of these.
It's slowly scrolling over the course of 54 minutes. And
if I don't move it, it actually goes black. So we got to be kind of careful.
Yeah,
time sensitive.
Yeah, a little bit. But if there's one thing I've realized about podcasts is like, unless you have the most perfect.
Sorry. You like teed it up perfectly where you're like, well, the one thing I've learned from this podcast is, and I'm like, what was it? Nothing happened. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Retention goes down, Matt. If there's one thing I've learned about this podcast, is when you laugh, viewers click off. So if you made it past this moment, I am proud of you. We'll send you like a nice. We'll if you say like bananas right now, we'll like the comment on YouTube. So thank you for making it past.
There's actually gonna be a pause in this video, and it's gonna pop up a multiple choice question. So if you're not paying attention, it just shuts off.
You missed out on the NOFOLD special question. So,
sorry.
But if there's one thing I've learned about podcasting, unless you have like a professional audio engineer behind you, which let me tell you, we don't.
Nope.
Like, I think the value of like podcasting is one of those things where it's like equipment does matter. You can tell a story with a smartphone. In video, you can like do stuff, and like Anchor has the ability to make a podcast with a phone, but if you're making a podcast with a phone in the middle of like a park because you think it's like cute, and you hear all like ducks quacking around you, like it's just not good. Like I've seen the value in why people have tables the way they do, why they set up like shots the way that they do, why they all use Shure SM7Bs because of moments like this. Huh?
What's that?
It's a microphone.
Oh.
Shocker. But like that's a microphone that doesn't pick up any audio behind it, or not a lot of it. So like moments like this, we don't have to worry about. Like it would make editing faster. It would make like things more efficient. Like
okay.
it's those things where you learn like the reason why people invest so fast into really nice equipment for podcasting is because once you're done, audio equipment lasts like a decade.
This is true.
Whereas like video is always like, frick, now we got to start shooting in 8K or no one will care. Like,
bro, we got some backup cameras just in case. They're kind of out of frame, but they're the old film cameras. So if something happens and one of these cameras go out, we have a film camera that we can just like crank. You imagine me over there in the corner with like a director's hat, and we're like, and cut.
The audio would be ruined.
They'd be like, yeah. Like, what's that sound? Oh, we're back in Vietnam. It's like, run.
But even for us, like I've realized, like within, like the way that even we do the podcast now, like we're sitting on a couch, yes, but at the same time, like we only have 2 angles, and it's both our personal cameras. Like we don't have a wide angle. Like if I'm talking, it's me, and if Matt's talking, it's him. You never see like a reaction a lot of the time, and I've noticed that within like cutting too. Like I have to like be very picky with how I cut because I have to like make sure that like I can still get your reaction without like losing my own like me speaking or the reverse, you know? So in conclusion,
think about that.
We need a wide angle.
GoPro.
GoPro. That'd be kind of funny.
Just set one up, and it's like one of the old, like the early like edition ones where it's just like it looks like a
40p.
It looks like a security mall camera where it's just like a shot of the whole area and the ceiling, and it's like no one cares about the ceiling, but you see everything. It's just like wild. Yes. They're like, okay, maybe we'll do that. We'll just set one up and have it on like a little stick so you can like, why?
Wow, welcome to the NOFOLD podcast.
But yeah, I agree. Like equipment does help. Gear does help, and like if you're gonna do it right, you do have to get to a point where people will take you serious based off of like how you showcase yourself and how you sound. And I'm a true believer in that. Like you're not hearing the biggest companies in the world do stuff on phones. Granted, they might film something from like a social media shot because it's shot from a phone and it's made for a phone, but like their good stuff, their podcasts, their commercials or videos are not done on some rinky-dink setups. They're done on really good stuff because they know the power of like a good performance, and like good equipment does go a long way. So I'm a like that's a pro for me to like always push and like get better stuff, evolve, become better. But I don't want to ever. I see a lot of creators out there almost overinvest in the production stuff that just can't tell like shit in the story.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, cool, the shot looks awesome, but what's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
And like I'm big on like purposeful stuff. Like there's a lot of directors out there that will shoot with a purpose and like cut with a purpose rather than just be like, oh, that's a cool shot, we'll just shoot it that way. And then we'll like have this person say this. Like there you can tell. And I don't want my like work or our work to ever get to the point where they're like, wow, that looks really good, unless it's for like a GIF or like something funny or like a spoof that we would pull off, which I feel like we'll probably do at some point, and like get like a big ass green screen for some reason and just do some crazy stuff like, hi guys, we're in the middle of Mount Doom and we're recording our podcast. It's like, guys, why are we here? Like we'll do that at some point. But like the whole point is like, I don't think we need to ever like tell a better story based off of our better equipment. Yeah. It's always like story, and then let the equipment just make it look and sound just and feel. It, yeah. Like, and I think sometimes people get that backwards, especially a lot of young creators. So like, oh, I don't have this camera, I can't vlog. And I'm like, when vlogging was a thing, God, I'm so glad that's over. Like, yeah, that was a time.
And I think especially when it comes to gear, like you don't value like watching another person's like podcast and looking at it and being like you, for an average viewer, watch something like an Impulsive or like a TMG podcast, and you just look at it and you're like, oh, like it sounds great. It's just these two guys doing whatever. For us, we're looking at that and like, damn, you don't have to hold your mic. Like you are lucky. Like,
as one of my friends would say, you are wealthy. Exactly. Be able to like not have to hold the mic.
Like, and like I feel like for us, like in a way, like I would like to get better gear, but I also appreciate that we've gone 10 episodes with the gear that we have, because I can like, I will know that I have better appreciation and understand the value in the tools that we will acquire, more than just like if we straight off the bat had Shure SM7Bs, a perfect studio guaranteed that we could shoot in at all times, and like millions of dollars of funding and like all that stuff. Like we could just like, we have to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like even like Cody Ko talked about it. Like he was like, Logan Paul said he wanted a podcast, and in a month he had an entire podcast studio. It took us 2 years to even get anywhere of even in discussion of a studio.
It's tough, dude. Yeah. And especially like you said, it's depending on your environment. Like one of the things that I know, like you brought up at one point when we were talking about this podcast, is like having like a good audience and like trying to listen to what the audience has to say for what we're going to like kind of shape our podcast and our like branding and style and stuff. And I agree like to an extent, but we don't have that audience. And so for us, it's like we're shooting from the hip. We're trying it out. It might not work, but we're okay with it because it's not going to be a fatal wound to us, because it's like we're just shooting from the hip. We're trying stuff out. Yeah. And then once we get good, then it's like, yo, dude, this is a nicer gun, or like, oh wow, like I'm supposed to hold it this way, or I'm not supposed to just stand with it. Like you learn and you get better at stuff. And so it's like for us, like we are constantly getting better. Yeah. Even though in the micro, we don't feel like it. You look 6 months from now, we're going to get better. Yeah. And it's going to sound better. It's going to, and like, I think for creators out there, this whole idea of like within a month or within a couple of months that you're just like, I'm there and like success is right around the corner. It's not. Like, it's very hard, but it is possible. Yeah. So don't like give up on it. And if you're good, you can do it. Like 100%. Are you kidding me right now?
No, it was plugged in. I just like, I was stepping on the cord, so I got a little nervous. For all you audio listeners, I had to lean in to double check that the cord was still very much plugged in. Bro, because I am terrified.
That's fighting territory, dude. If you lean down towards our audio device and you're tinkering with something, somebody might swing. I'm not saying it won't be me. And I'm the only other one in this room, Matt Floyd. But it will happen.
Oh, one thing that I did want to talk about, since you talked about audience, though, I feel like going into the future of NOFOLD, building the empire. The empire. I do think that like we've kind of gotten, which is not true, but we've kind of gotten a formula down for these episodes. At least like putting out something every week.
Yeah.
So I feel like our next step, and I'm publicly saying this, is like,
you sure you want to do this?
Yes. We need to take over TikTok. Whatever that looks like. And I have a few ideas, and we can discuss them on the podcast if you like. But I think, like,
go for it.
Like, I think we like need to like invest like way more into TikTok. Like, I feel like I would like, for me, YouTube is the GOAT for me. Like, that's where I love to like be the most creative. But YouTube also, I feel like for us, especially with our backgrounds and videography and like just like what we want NOFOLD to be, I feel like it's just more production value, which I think is more value though, because I think like I would rather make one really good NOFOLD special on YouTube a month than like upload a podcast and a NOFOLD special every week, and we're just like getting lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
But TikTok, I feel like TikTok is so much more organic that we can just like start doing things. Like, I thought about it with like, you remember like, you know, like Hank and John Green, right?
Yes. Like
John Green, huge author, millionaire. Hank Green, also millionaire, but not author. But one of the things, like how they got big is they did the Vlog Brothers thing where they communicated. I think it was, and again, this is a big NOFOLD thing that I like about us, is we just like kind of spit like facts that aren't true. But like, as far as I know, for at least a year,
we're really good at that.
Yeah. As far as I know, for at least a year, Hank and John Green, because they were brothers but lived apart on the Vlog Brothers channel, they only communicated through that channel. So they would make videos basically asking the other brother questions, and the other brother would respond. And that's how they communicated. And that was the only way. They would not meet up for Thanksgiving, Christmas, any of that. Like, that is the only way they communicated. And I feel like NOFOLD, because like you and I live such wildly different lives, like we can't get together and film TikToks throughout the week, but like we can like almost have this like thing of like you go out and do something like cool, and then you're like, your turn. Like you have to match my energy. Or it goes back and forth.
Okay.
You know, like stuff like that where we're able to, like, you're basically like watching a conversation along with our clips, but watching us like organically conversate over TikTok.
Interesting. I like that. That's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, it's kind of like you don't know what to respond to until you see it, which is a big trending thing on TikTok, where like either they remake a video to their own style or to their own creative, or they stitch it with something else they're seeing, and then they just riff off of that. I think we can easily utilize that within the platform, and I think a lot of creators are starting to understand and realize that like there's power in like multiple people within a TikTok compared to just like one person in front of the screen the whole time, even though they might have a good story. But to be able to see like a famous TikTok viral like moment and then stitch it with just some random response or some like facial reaction to something, it's actually really funny. And I've caught myself the last like week or so finding a lot more stitches and like TikToks that are made from other TikToks that are just like continuously becoming like a cycle. And it's like, who can updo it? Like there's this one dancing one, and it was like this guy like was like, oh, I can pull it off, and he like has his camera and he does like his own little shake thing, and he keeps going, and then it's like another person, and then it's like a girl across the world like, oh, I can do this, and she walks out into a field and like.
Did you see the hostage situation?
Which one?
There was a guy who did like news reporting for like 6 months and blew up on TikTok during the middle of COVID. And he announced he had a girlfriend, and people made this massive stitch of like it'd be like her arm or like her legs or like stuff. And they would be like there'd be like a guy behind a door holding like a Nerf gun. And there'd be like another guy like peeking around a corner. Like we will save you.
Oh my God.
A huge stitch.
It just kept going.
Like it looked like a mural. Like it was like so cool.
Oh my God.
All from one guy like just like making like a video about it. And I'm like everyone was just like, what?
Yeah, and I think that's like the part like you're saying, we need to utilize TikTok for what it really is, which is like a great organic evolving community that we just can utilize with our own content, but then also kind of like we play to the it's like playing in a certain playground. It's like, this is the kind of playground we're in.
Yeah.
And TikTok's going to get a little crazier than like Facebook's playground or Instagram's playground. So we got to play how we need to play in TikTok's playground.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be kind of fun, but I think that's a great idea, honestly. I think it would be
and
fun.
I mean it can be like a lot of different things, but like even just the idea of like competition or just like living the NOFOLD lifestyle and like encouraging other person. Like I know you've had to have seen like videos that'll pop up that's like I made 10 of these. This one's for you. Like 4 out of 10. Or you'll see like you're on team red or team blue. You know, like those type of videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like I feel like if you and I like had like a trend, like this was years ago, it feels like, but like the Adult Swim trend, like if each of us made our own without like telling any like each other our ideas, and then we both made them, we both posted them on the NOFOLD account and see which one gets more views.
Oh,
so it's like a competition sort of thing, like something like that. And then you know, like we can like have a challenge or whatever for whoever loses. You know, like stuff like that where it's like a conversation, and then you're like, I'm totally like Team Zeke or I'm Team Matt or like wow, like these guys work really well together and they don't even like talk in person. You know, like I feel like it would also just help us like keep the NOFOLD like ideology like throughout the week.
I like it. No, I think that's good. I at first when you were like the teams, I was thinking like if you don't share this post in a matter of 24 hours with 10 other people, you're gonna die. Do you remember those on Facebook?
I remember seeing those, but I didn't have social media.
Oh,
I was like, I remember this is exactly, I think this is where I got like a fat amount of my humor. Is I would remember seeing those and go, well, that's game. Like, I can't share it with anyone.
If I don't.
24 hours later, just
Yeah, just
Gone.
End it. Yeah. No, I thought it was the funniest thing because it was like a big thing for a while, and that's where I was like, at first I thought you were going with it, and then you were like, but team this and team that. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not that because that's what I was like thinking, and I was like, there were some wild ones on Facebook where it's like, please share this with like 5 other people. If it makes sense to them, then you're a millionaire, and it's like. I could write these. I feel like a 5-year-old's writing this stuff, and then it's just like post, share. It's like literally like I don't know, but I see TikTok becoming like honestly a mecca for content that continuously evolves. Like what it is now is not going to be the same in another year. Like it's going to continue because of how smart it is and how popular it is. Like it's not dying anytime soon. Yeah. And you see these other platforms like Instagram, like heavily converting to video because it's like, yo, we ain't got nowhere near the eyeballs as TikTok does. And TikTok knows they have the eyeballs. So they're just like, pff, and just constantly evolving to the point where it's like, those are going to be like main point of like streams of like media for everyone around the world. And it's going to be like, yo, if you don't have a TikTok, you're hurting. Like, or if you're not doing stuff on there, you're already like 5 years behind. You better start going on there hard. Because it's like, that's going to be not the next YouTube, but something that's going to be around for a while and continuously get better at like longer videos, crazier stuff. They're definitely going to incorporate more Vine stuff, more like animation and more like CGI stuff. Like it's just going to continue to get better and better. And that's where it's going to be like, forms of like Facebook news and stuff. TikTok's gonna have a news. Like it's gonna be a trending thing. Like they probably have it, but like I don't pay attention to TikTok news. I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of creators just like hype houses. It's like, welcome to the TikTok Daily News. Did you hear Bryce Hall did this?
Another Netflix show?
Love Island.
But I feel like that's also like, even like talking like TikTok news, like I feel like that's where we could like, not TikTok news, but like slotting ourselves in of just like, TikTok is one of those things where like, it's constantly evolving, so like it's also kind of beneficial because anything's possible.
Yeah,
like everyone can just come up with a new way to do things. Like,
and there's not like a like on Instagram, it's like you do something and it's not what like the platform already encourages.
Game. Same for YouTube, kind of.
Done. Yeah, it's so hard, and it's like
TikTok's just like make a good video and we don't care.
Yeah, and like you said, it could be about anything, and usually if it's something that's like easily relatable to, not super complicated, like not crazy creative, but kind of funny and kind of like
as long
interesting.
As people can get behind it.
Yeah.
Like that's like that one guy who's like blowing up on TikTok right now, just hit like 100 million followers and has never spoken a word. Like,
which is this?
The guy that like people will do like dumb life hacks and then he'll just silently be like,
oh, yeah. He literally
Khabib.
Yeah, there was this one where this guy was punching and he was like punching this wall and like putting a hole in the wall, but he was punching like with his wrist. He was like hitting it down. And so like all you like audience, like audio listeners, he's like got his wrist curled and he's turning, and then he comes into the frame, Khabib, I think, and he's just like, and he just like punches straight towards a wall. And it's like,
and he doesn't speak, but like it just gets millions of likes because everyone can get behind it.
Yeah,
and I feel like if we like did the same thing with like a NOFOLD sort of like conversation between the two of us of like stuff, people would just like get behind it.
Yeah,
like if I was like, okay, Matt, I do this, and you have 24 hours to respond, people are gonna be like, buddy, you better respond.
Bro, there's gonna be like messages on TikTok where it's like
gonna be 23 your personal account,
22 hours and 35 seconds. Good luck.
Exactly.
It's just like a ticking time bomb, and you're like, God, throw the grenade back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's gonna be a great idea. Like, I think that we can definitely run with this, and for like people out there that are wanting to, if you had like a piece of advice for someone that wanted to like start this journey, start like a podcast, start like from square point one, what would that be like the top advice you could give? Not like top 5 things or anything like that, but just like, yo, give me a quick run of like, how is this even possible? What should I do?
I would say like whatever you're doing, save up. I mean, the equipment that we have is probably like no more than like $400. So save up your $400, get the equipment that everyone from up all the way down uses, which is just like a Zoom H6 and 2 mics. And then just like when you start that podcast, just upload that first episode and then just be like, I did that. Yeah. And then from there, just focus on like your story, like whatever you bring to the table. If you like watching birds, tell us stories about you and like an encounter you had with a bird. But don't just go like listing off facts about like the yellowfin duck you saw. Like no one's gonna care. But if that yellowfin duck like ate your toenail, like that's what I want to hear.
We're like, what the
Exactly. Like just like focus on you and your story. And I feel like that's like what people care about.
Do you think there's a lot of people out there that don't feel like they're interesting?
I think we don't think we're interesting a lot of the time. So yes, there's 2 of us.
There goes all my self-esteem. Straight out the window.
But so like, yeah, like I feel like just like, I feel like a lot of people don't think they're interesting, but a lot of people also don't tell their own story.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, I had like a basic come up. And it's like, well, tell me about it. And then they just like give it and you're like, I wouldn't call that basic.
Yeah. No. And it's like everyone has some like crazy stuff that happens, but isn't probably crazy to them.
Because it happened to them. It's normal to them.
Exactly.
But to everyone else, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, especially like if you have like a place in the world that you grew up or a certain way of how you grew up or how you do certain things. Like I figured out for me, something that's interesting that I didn't know was interesting myself was how I actually do work every day. Like I actually have people ask me that are good friends of mine that are like, yo, how do you even function doing all these things? And I'm like, well, I do this and I have this and I use this tool. And they're like, oh, wow, that is awesome. Like, I didn't know that even existed. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm able to do it this way. And this is how I break down. And they're like, have you ever talked about like explaining that to like other people that do your kind of job? And I'm like, no, because I just had to do it that way. He's like, dude, you should. Like, that would help a lot of other people that do this same similar kind of work. And I'm like, huh, never would have thought about that. And then I look back and I'm like, dude, that's what all those YouTubers are doing when they're like, yo, drop shipping, yo, e-com this. And I'm like, I kind of hate on them because I'm like, are they making that much money? But in reality, I think some of them are. And they're just sharing what they've learned to the world, but in an interesting, creative way for them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not interesting, creative to me, so I'm not going to watch it. But I know there's an audience out there because they're making money and they're doing well with it, so someone's watching. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, find that audience and just, like, hammer down what you like, how your vibe, your, like, creative is, and just keep cutting and chipping away at it to get it to where it's perfect for you, and then just run with it.
Yeah.
Don't freaking be like, it worked, but I only did it for like a couple of weeks, or I did it for a couple months, and I just didn't see the view rate. And it's like, bro, they're already blocking likes. Like, good luck trying to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get so many views. Like, no, don't focus on that. If you focus on that, you've lost.
Yeah,
100%. So.
But overall, solid episode 10. If you listen to every single one of these, thank you, because you're one of 5. And
including my mom.
More TikToks and you'll come back.
Actually, I don't even think my mom knows that I do a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told her.
A lot of people know I do a podcast because, like, what are you doing with your day? I'm like, oh, man, I got to go freaking edit podcasts. I am a busy man. So a lot of people surprisingly know. Do they listen? No. Do they ask more than, like, what are you doing with your life?
Bro, what's that conversion rate like? And it's like, man, I tell a lot of people
it is always, what are you doing with your day? I got to edit the podcast. You do a podcast? Yeah, done. It's never like, what is it? And ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It is the NOFOLD podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode 10, and we'll see you in episode 11. Peace out.
Deuces.